Yep, Jigara here. Today I bring you a somewhat serious topic. Very serious topic. So I was watching some of those social justice warrior videos, and I know, oh God, why, not again. Sorry. But in a lot of these videos, I've been seeing so many of these Black Lives Matter activists, and I gotta say, I'm sick of it. One video in particular struck me so hard that I was literally crying, and I had to turn it off, and I went and I laid down and I just cried so many strong tears because of how disappointed I am in my own race. These people who made this video, it was a montage of different Black Lives Matter activists and different people who are in this new Black Panthers movement, and they were, not only were they interrupting peaceful groups of people who were meeting to discuss their ideas, who did not necessarily agree with their own ideas, and they were blowing whistles, and they were jumping up on stage and taking microphones and shouting how it was their fault that, you know, the world is what it is and that black people are being kept down all their lives. And that was upsetting enough. But then it got to the point where you had these activists shouting, "Kill all white people." And I'm like, are you serious? You stupid, racist, Hitler-loving motherfuckers. Yeah, a lot of people right now are saying black people can't be racist. Racism is when a majority group is putting down a minority group. That is not racism. Look it up. If you're watching this video, I know you have the internet. If you have the internet, go do a Google search. The definition of racism. Racism is when you look at a person, see the color of their skin, and automatically associate all kinds of different attributes to that person, and then decide, I don't like you because your skin isn't the same color as mine. That's racism. So yes, black people can be racist. Mexican people can be racist. White people can be racist. Asian people can be racist. Any race in the world who looks at another race and automatically attributes a certain attribute to them, and any race who looks at another race and automatically doesn't like them because of race and race alone is a racist. If you look at somebody you don't know on the street whose color doesn't match yours, and you say, I hate that person because their color doesn't match mine, or I hate that person because that person is racist, you're being racist. You don't know anything about that person. How do you know that person is racist? Because of the color of their skin. You can't see into somebody's mind just by looking at the color of their skin. That is impossible. We're not psychics. It is impossible to know somebody just by the color of their skin. There are so many white people out there who have taken up what is seen as black culture, but you know what? I don't call it black culture. I call it ghetto culture. Because to call it black culture insults me. There are so many black people out there who will look at a white person and automatically assume you're racist, I hate you. Because they're a racist person. They are a racist individual. And I'm not saying there aren't any racist white people out there. I've seen them. I've dealt with them. They exist. But they're in the minority. Most of the white people I've dealt with have been perfectly fine with me. And if you couldn't tell, I'm black. I don't talk black, as a lot of you who out there will be confused right now. It's because I was raised properly. I was raised to speak English the way it was meant to speak. And a lot of black people hate me for that. I was raised to do better for myself, to work hard, to advance myself. A lot of black people hate me for that. I think it's just jealousy, honestly. They think I feel like I'm better than them just because I can speak properly, just because I have an education, just because I'm working towards a career. I don't think I'm better than them because of that. I do not think I am better than anybody because I speak properly, because I'm working towards a career, because I have an education. I don't. In fact, I think everybody should speak properly and that everybody should have an education and work towards a career. So if I look at another person and they speak properly, have an education, work towards a career, I'm on equal footing with them. If I see somebody who doesn't speak properly, doesn't have a career, doesn't have an education, I don't think I'm better than them. I just think I was given a better opportunity than they were. Now, when I see a person who does not have an education, does not have a career, does not speak properly, who isn't trying to better themselves, yeah, I feel better than them. Unless it is under the case where they are trying to make sure that their child has an education and that their child can have a career and that their child speaks properly. In which case, I have so much respect for you, I will put you over on a pedestal above myself. Because you are working for your posterity so that your child will have a better life than you did. And I applaud you so hard for that. Because people like that, I feel like they're doing so much more for our race than the idiots who run up on a stage and shout, "Black Lives Matter, kill Whitey." I feel like those people and their children matter so much more than the idiots who stand in the middle of a street holding a sign saying Black Lives Matter. If you think Black Lives Matter so much, why the sunshine did you stand in the middle of a highway and just stand there stopping traffic? That is the best way to get black people killed. That is the best way to show people that your life doesn't matter because you're doing something so idiotic and dangerous that it could potentially kill you and everybody else in that line. Who came up with that idea? Whoever it was, you need to reevaluate your life because that was stupid. That was so stupid. All those black people who got hit by cars and all of a sudden are claiming that the driver of that car was a racist and doesn't think that Black Lives Matter and should be in turn hurt the same way that the black person that they ran over was. No, it's not that driver's fault. It is the fault of the idiotic black person who stood in the middle of the street for no other reason than to try to prove a point, but you were doing it wrong. You were doing it way wrong. It saddens me that I get so excited when I see another black person who speaks properly, who's working towards a future, who has an education or is at least working towards an education and working towards a career. It saddens me that I get so excited when I see that because I shouldn't. That should be all black people across the board. That should be all white people across the board. That should be all people in general across the board speaking properly, working towards an education, working towards a career. That is how we should be. But instead, you want to blame the white man. You want to blame your neighborhood. You want to blame your school system. You want to blame everybody else but yourself. It's not my fault. Nothing is my fault. I am completely and totally innocent of what my life is, where my life is. You know what? You have hands. You have feet. You have eyes, ears, a mouth, a nose, and a brain. You were given these things so that you could succeed, so that you could live, so that you can grow. Use them. Don't disrespect the previous generations who spent so much blood and sweat and tears and work and spent so much time in jail just so that you could live a better life. Do not spit on those people. Stop it. You know, a lot of people are thinking, well, the white people put us in chains, so we can't rise up above because we are chained down. Yeah, you're chained down, but not by the white people. Because our previous generation worked so hard for you, we were given the key to those chains. That key to those chains is in your hand right now, as we speak. So some of us have chosen to put the key in the lock, release themselves from the chain, and go get an education, go get a career, and go further their lives. I applaud you. I applaud all of you. I'm working to get there myself. But then there are so many of you who have taken that key, looked at the white person, and looked at the black people who have worked so hard so that they could get that key in their hand, and you say, what? You're not going to unlock this chain for me? I have the key right here. You're not going to unlock it for me? You're not going to do the work for me? And then you get mad, and you blame them for that chain still being on your wrist, even though you're the one holding the key. Shame on you. How dare you spit on the people who have done so much for you and didn't even know who you are. You weren't even born, and they worked so hard for you. And you're going to sit there and blame somebody else for not turning the key in the lock of the chains that are on your wrist, and that key is in your own hand. You want to blame your neighborhood. Fix your neighborhood. It's that simple. It's a lot of hard work, yeah. It's easier said than done, yeah. Could it put you potentially in danger? Yes. Because a lot of the groups who run those neighborhoods who people are saying are keeping them down, they're violent people. They're undesirables. But you don't have to take it. No one person can do it alone. It is a community effort. Go to your neighbors, go to your friends, go to your families. Start a neighborhood watch. There are anonymous tip lines for a reason. It is so when you see somebody on the streets trying to sell crack to your neighbor's children, trying to sell a disease, a degradative disease, such as crack, to your neighbors, such drugs spreading through your neighborhood, they're just making things worse. And when you see somebody out there selling it, don't turn around and think, it's not my fault. No. That's part of the chain holding you down. Call the cops. It's that simple. Stop this stigmatism against the police. The police are not our enemies. We are our own enemies. I'm not saying there's no such thing as a cop that has ever beaten or shot or imprisoned a black person for no reason other than that cop was racist. I already said it. Yes, there are some white people out there who are racist. And yes, when they are put in a position of power, such as being a police officer, they will abuse that. Let me correct myself. They may abuse that because there are probably several cops out there who are racist but don't abuse their power. Good on them for being able to resist that temptation. But at the same time, you can't just go around and attribute the actions of a few to all of them. That's what's happening to our people. The actions of a few violent, drug-selling, gang-banging idiots is being attributed to the rest of us. And it's making all of us look bad. And it's making things difficult for all of us to reach up and claw our way out of this hole that we have put ourselves in. So, next time you see a cop, don't just automatically get defensive. Don't automatically get angry. If a cop pulls you over and you were speeding, take your ticket. I'm sorry, officer. I didn't realize I was going that fast. I apologize. Thank you, officer, for your time. Take your ticket, pay for it, move on with your life. That's all it takes. I've done it. I've never had a negative experience with a cop. Never had a physical altercation with a cop. Because you know what? I understand that the cops are there to keep society as a whole safe. So as part of that, I don't do anything stupid that could put me in danger with a cop. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, no, ma'am. I'm sorry about that, ma'am. I didn't realize that, ma'am. I feel comfortable around police officers. I'll say hi to them. Because they're just doing their job. The majority of them are just doing their job. But unfortunately, because so many of our people have got this deep-seated hatred for all cops, even though it's just a few cops that are the problem. Because of that, cops are on edge. When a police officer pulls over a black man, he's gonna be on edge. Because he sees in the news and hears from his fellow police officers about the black man who ran, about the black man who attacked him, who had a gun, about the threat to that police officer's life when they came across a black person who may not have been doing anything, but as soon as they saw the cop, decided to get violent, decided to get loud, decided to get aggressive. Those kinds of behaviors have infested the cop with a fear. So he's going to be jumpy. That's how it is. You get bit by a dog, you start getting wary about dogs. That's how it is. If a dog is abused by a certain type of person, if a dog is abused by men all of his life, he's going to be afraid of men. That's how it is. That's how our minds work. We learn based on our experiences, based on the things we see and hear. That's how we survive as a race. So as a police officer, when you see all these black people running around being stupid, being violent and aggressive for no reason, you're going to be wary of black people. We can put a stop to that. We can start being respectful to them. We can start treating them as human beings, which they are. It's going to take a long time because this has been a long-lasting issue. And it'll take just as long, if not longer, to get rid of the problem. But it's that simple. If you feel afraid around a police officer, if you feel worried that your life is in danger because a police officer is coming up to your car after pulling you over for a speeding ticket, or because a police officer is approaching you when you're walking down the street, it's okay to record them. It is okay to pull your phone out and record the incident. And that does two things. One, it makes you less likely to be a victim of such issues as unwarranted police violence, because the cop sees you recording it. That recording can be offered as evidence, especially if you have a friend who is also recording. We are in an amazing age where everybody's cell phone doubles as a video camera. And the second thing that it does is it'll give you a sense of ease. This is being recorded. I am less likely to be in trouble. If you're respectful to that cop, and that cop is still a dick, don't get aggressive. Don't drop your respectful demeanor. Continue being civilized. And then later, you can go to that police officer's department and say, hey, here's the video evidence. This cop was rude to me. You might want to have a talk with him. Eventually, these things can change. Eventually, it'll get to the point where cops no longer fear driving down a neighborhood that is predominantly black, because they no longer fear that all the people in the neighborhood are just going to try to hurt them. They're not here to hurt you. They're here to protect you, to keep you safe. Again, there are exceptions to every rule. Cops are humans too. And because of this, they are susceptible to hatred. They are susceptible to racism. But it's still a minority. It is still a minority. Work with your neighbors to clean up your streets. Work with your neighbors to make sure that the drug dealers and the gangbangers and the violence is all reported, so that your child who is playing Xbox in the living room doesn't get shot by a stray bullet. So that your child who's outside riding their bike with their friends doesn't get hooked on the atrocious disease that is called drugs and addiction. They won't fall to that, because it becomes less profitable when all of a sudden the entire neighborhood is turning you in. Who's going to want to sell drugs on a corner where an entire neighborhood who is looking out their windows and making sure no one is selling drugs is willing to call the cops. If it's not just one person doing it, then there's no way for a violent retaliation. Sure, some gangbangers will get the idea, if we just get their leader and we severely hurt their leader, the rest of them will fall apart. You have to be brave. You have to be brave to increase your standard of living, not only for yourself, but for your children and for your neighborhood, to increase the safety and security of yourself and your child and your neighborhood. It's a risk, but if you don't take it, no one else will, and your neighborhood will stay the way it is. It's not white people's fault that these ghetto neighborhoods are the way they are. It's the fault of the people inside of those neighborhoods who are doing nothing to fix it, who are doing nothing to make it better. You can't expect your life to get better without you doing something. You can't just sit here and ask for a handout and ask for somebody else to come in and fix your problems, because you know what? Everybody has their own problems to deal with. They're too busy fixing their own problems to worry about your problems. You have to fix your own life and your own problems. If you want to blame things on your neighborhood, it's fine. But you can't just leave it at that. You have to go through and fix your own neighborhood. You have to get a committee together of people who want to change, who want to be better. And you have to all work together, and you have to all be brave, and you have to all continue working towards the end goal. No matter what happens to any individual, you all have to keep going. Otherwise, nothing will change and nothing will get better. Worst case scenario, things will deteriorate. But it won't happen unless you keep going. You want to blame your school system? Don't. It's not the school's fault. Your schools have to work with a limited budget. Your schools have to work within the confines of the class structure that they are given, that is set forth by the government. Your schools have to teach to the book, because you know the standardized testing is such a huge thing, even though that's an incredibly stupid way of teaching. That's another video. Your schools have confines within which they are forced to work. But when your child comes home, the majority of your child's time spent at home, that's worth something. You show your kids you're having an interest in what they're learning from school, they're more likely to learn it. You have your child teach you. That gives your child pride in what they know. And pride is a powerful, powerful thing. I'm sure we all know this. It is our pride that has unfortunately got us to where we are, because it was misdirected pride. But if we set that pride along the proper path, make that pride being pride of self-accomplishment, make that pride, put that pride into getting an education, put that pride into getting a wonderful career for yourself, then pride can work for you in a wonderful way. Make your child proud of the things that they have learned at school. Make your child proud of their grades, proud of their intelligence. And your child will work harder to keep progressing, because they want you to be proud of them. And they want to be able to be proud of themselves. You push your kids. Make them proud. Make them excited to learn, to grow. And they will astound you. They will absolutely astound you with what they pick up. You know, the internet, it's a wonderful resource. In fact, there was research done a while ago where a man went to a very poor little town that had no school and took children of varying ages from like 7 to 16 or so, give or take. He gave them the internet and said, hey children, learn physics. You have the internet. Work to learn physics. What these kids do? They went out and learned physics. They went online. They did research, used the internet, figured out how to do things, and they learned physics. And when given a college level physics exam, they made a better score than I would have, let me tell you. In fact, some of the students, having no teacher, having no schooling, they made passing grades with just the internet, and that was all they had available to them. Just a little bit of research and a little bit of all it takes is a desire to learn. That's it. A desire to go forward. That's what these children had, and they moved forward so far, so much farther than anyone could have expected. Astounded the researcher. And all it took him was a semester's worth of self-research to get that far. So the next thing he did was he took a woman who had no background in physics. She knew nothing of physics at all. I think she was like an English teacher. So she knew how to teach, didn't know anything about physics. He put her in with a different set of children with the same internet, same access to the same tools. And he told this new group of children, learn physics. Here's your teacher. She doesn't know physics. Learn physics. All this teacher had to do was help the children to figure out words they didn't understand. All she had to do was show an interest in what these children were learning. The children were teaching her. The children were teaching her physics. And because of that, their grades significantly improved. Many more of the children than had been in the first group were able to actually pass the test. They weren't flying colors, but they passed the test, given no background in physics, no proper schooling, and in a country, in a village that is much, much less privileged than what we have here in the United States. Children who are in a much, much worse situation than any child in any of our poorest ghettos. And they were able to take a college-level physics test and pass it. And all they were given was the internet and an adult who showed interest. That's it. Your children can surprise you. It is absolutely amazing what we learn as we're growing. And the parents, the parents are the ones who have the most influence on a child's development. It's one thing if your teacher at school, who you see for only a few hours a day, is proud of you for getting a better grade. It's an entirely different ball game when you go home and show your parents your improved grades, and your parents are excited and they're happy and they're jumping with you and they're hugging you and kissing you and they're telling you how good of a job you've done. That just blows it out of the water, and you want to do so much better. We can't keep blaming our faults on everything around us, on our environment, because we have the tools to continue to succeed, to move forward, to progress, and to reach a higher level of society than where we are. We have the key that fits the lock. All we gotta do is stick it in there, turn the key, pull the chain off, and advance. Quit blaming anybody and everybody, and just finally take responsibility for what you have not done. We can't fix the sorry state that the majority of our people are in until we recognize what the true problem is. The barrier that is holding us back, the chains that are keeping us down, they do not belong to the white people. They do not belong to our environment. They do not belong to our schools or our neighborhoods. These chains, this barrier that is blocking us from the path of success and keeping us down in the dredges of society, did not come from anywhere except for in here. Except for in here. Within our own race, we are keeping each other down. Any black person who has the gall to pull themselves up and begin to succeed is dragged back down by the others who are saying, what are you doing? What, you think you're white? You think you're better than me just because you got a better score on that test? What the hell is wrong with you? And then they want to beat you up because you did better than they did. Don't let it stop you. Keep moving forward. And you know what? Reach a hand out. Pull them up. Pull them up with you. Show them how to make that better grade. Show them you don't think you're better than them, but you want them to be better than what they are now. Just like you want to be better than what you are now. Reach your hand out. Help your neighbors. Help your friends. Help your black community. Stop blaming anything and everything else that isn't you. Stop looking for an external scapegoat to the problems that you have allowed yourself to fall into. It's not their fault. The only one who chose to do any action is you. You had the option. Do I go to class today? Do I stay at home, play video games, and smoke? Do I study hard? Or do I run around outside and shoot somebody? Do I do better for myself? Or do I continue to blame society for my own actions? Be better. Please be better. I'm tired of cringing every time I hear one of my people blame somebody else. Every time I hear one of my people say, that wasn't her fault, that was the white person's fault. It's killing me. I don't even want to go on the internet anymore because I can't go 2 days, 2 seconds, 2 minutes without seeing a new post. Black person was caught in a shooting. Neighborhood blames the cops. Cops have evidence that show that the black person shot first. I can't stand this. I can't stand watching my people riot and kill and be killed, and I can't stand watching us drag ourselves through the mud. It's not right. We are an evolved species. We should be beyond this. We should be better than this. You should be better than this. I should be better than this. I honestly don't know what else to say. I can feel already the comments lining up. Well, you just hate your race. You just hate your people. It's not us. It's the white people. When are you going to learn to take responsibility for your own actions? Yes, I'll admit it. There are white people out there who are working to keep us down. But our biggest challenge, our biggest obstacle to succeeding, to growing, to becoming solid, valued members of society, and from becoming the successes that we deserve to be, from getting the jobs that we deserve to get, the biggest obstacle to all of that, it's not the white people. It's not our neighborhoods or our schools. It's ourselves. If we can just change ourselves, change our mindset, change our line of thinking, we could do so much better. We could be so amazing. Just do better. Do better, please. And stop trampling all over the graves of those who have come before us, who have walked, who have been beaten, who have been shot at, who have been torn at by dogs, who have been sprayed by fire hydrants. Stop letting them down. Stop disrespecting all the work they put in for you. Take advantage of what they have already done. Take advantage of the road that they already laid down in front of you and use that to get somewhere instead of walking in circles in the muck and the sewage that we've let ourselves fall into. Please. I got a phone call. Jigara out.